Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am Annie. I'm the assistant director of tonight's performance. And before we start, I'd like to share a few important details with you. So, first of all, we have two theatrical audio recordings of gunfire, and we use a fake pistol as a prop for one of our scenes. We also have brief strobe lighting and theatrical fog in our performance. And finally, we have a couple discussions on suicide, which some may find a little distressing. All these elements are for the storytelling only and overall impact to the performance. However, your well-being is our priority. So if at any point you feel a little uncomfortable, please do what you need to care for yourself. And if you need to step out for a moment, we support you to do so. Besides, if you can turn off or have your phone in airplane mode, that helps us a lot because sometimes it affects our audio equipment. And tonight we have Brian, our filmmaker, here with us. So just be aware that we are going to have camera during filming, right, during the show. We thank your understanding and support, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Oh, God, I hate Shakespeare. That's right, I said it. No, I do. I hate Shakespeare. Why? I just don't get it how a mediocre actor from a measly little town is suddenly the brightest jewel in England's royal crown. Oh, God, I hate Shakespeare. His plays are wordy, but oh no, the great Shakespeare. That little turdy has no sense about the audience.
William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was a verbal contortionist. He could bend his words like a contortionist bends his frame, and one would hope that he could with a name like William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare. Okay. Some of you seem lost. Look, say your name was Robert Frost, but you couldn't write. Well, that would suck. But hey, at least you could go as Bobby Frost and own an ice cream truck. He was balanced like a metaphor and could stack simile 5, 6 at a time and rhyme until the very last line of a soliloquy, which finally said outright what the previous 77 were only hinting at. He had puns and quips and tons of trips of sons on ships with nuns with buns and hips and lips, but I have something that Shakespeare never had. Penicillin. You see, it hadn't been invented yet. Back then, they only had quillicillin. Hey, it's not that hard, Bard. I'm sorry, I got a bone to pick with you, William. So, if you could just listen up here and listen to this theater kids theater query here, and maybe act like a real artist for once in your life. Say, Van Gogh, lend me your ear. You're not a writer. You're a writer like Hulk Hogan's a street fighter. You write these dramas, you accumulate your wealth, you hold nature as to a mirror of itself. You know, just because you're messed up doesn't mean that we are too. Just because you're in love with your mom doesn't mean that Danish princes are too. What, who? Yeah, Hamlet, Shakespeare, that's right, you know. The young prince whose father died at the hand of his uncle, with whom his mother lied. Sound familiar? It's the Lion King. You stole from a Disney movie, you plagiarizing mooch. What's next? A French king on a quest to find his lost son, Nemo. Oh, and by the way, poetic talent. Really easy to fake when thy sentences doth no sense make. To be or not to be? That's the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take up arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. To die, to sleep, no more. And by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is there too, 'tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Ah, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. Like what? Hit it.
Welcome to a Shakespeare play, feel free to sit down. Guaranteed that brain of yours will think it's so profound. I wrote lots as a poet, but here is the curse. If you read my plays in school, then you might think I'm the worst.
Welcome to a Shakespeare play, let me just repeat. You have your preconceived and stubborn notions about me, but I'm not offended, cause I'm not the best. But when I'm done with you, you'll be so impressed.
Welcome to a Shakespeare play, fighting and murder. We've got lots of gripes and civil strife and love and death and words. Feel petty and lonely, consume it with rage. You'll feel euphoric and deranged and insane.
Welcome to a Shakespeare play, murder for your pride. Give in to your darkness and pickle the king, but do not cry. We got Rosalind, Beatrice, Lady, and then more. And a bunch of people in an existential battle to prove their parents wrong about them, oh boy.
Welcome to a Shakespeare play, grab a jagged rock, cause a group of 20 senators will stab you in the dark. They are angry, want you bleeding, as dead as a door. Caesar, come to the Senate, I must implore. Claudius beheaded, let's go Hamlet, save the queen. Live a life that's contemplative, sit alone and overthink. Happy Louis, father's doomed from being poisoned in his room. From the guy he shared a wound, then see him moved into his tomb. Come on now,
Have some bravery because your uncle sold your mom. After killing the king, then convincing you that he did not. You'll vengeance consume you, you know it's the biz. Fratricide is homicide, your gut, don't take revenge.
Anything and everything, all of the time. Anything and everything, all of the time. My tragedies, my histories, my comedies, oh my. Anything and everything, all of the time.
anything and everything all of the time. But Viola is Orsino, dressed as a guy. Falstaff and Prince Hal will drink and love, enjoying life. Then they'll learn his father's dead. Oh, what a time.
Whoa, his dad died?
Yikes.
This always gets so dark, so quickly.
I counted in Hamlet. A lot of people died.
You know, I didn't always write like this. Oh, so long ago, way before your time, back when I romanticized all parts of life, before demagogues, Roman mobs, dementia that looms. I felt so bright and wrote so light, adapting the tale of two insatiable two. Romeo, take the invite to Juliet's room, and they say all the things young lovers still do. And she's wooed, and he's wooed, wooed, wooed. Unstoppable, watchable, time's almost out, they're married. Wow. Look how they swoon, happily ever after, from here to the moon. I won't ruin their plans, I put the world in their hands.
JKLOLLMA, oh no, oh my. A love that moves that fast cannot survive. Right now they are young and dumb, but when they're 65, yes they could,
but we won't know, 'cause they just died.
Also, Winter's Labor's Cleo Hamlet divine.
Crescent Merchant Pericles, a tourism line.
Midsummer to Jenskin, Sean the Tempest, Henry I.
MM Taming Heirs, Macbeth, Choriotitis,
Caesar, Lear, Othello, RNJY.
Much ado as you like.
Welcome to Acting Shakespeare.
William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born in 1564 when the first Elizabeth was Queen of England. And right at the center of her nation runs the River Avon. And at the banks of the River Avon, the little market town of Stratford. Now, if you ever go there, you'll probably visit the parish church where Shakespeare is buried. Do you know what it says on the gravestone? Good friend, for Jesus' sake, forbear to dig the dust and close it here. Blessed be the one that spares these stones, and cursed be they that moves my bones. Well, William, there was someone who tried to dig up your dust. It was an American academic who wanted to prove that the plays were really written by his contemporary Christopher Marlowe, and, well, the attempt failed. I just think that Francis Bacon wrote the plays. Sort of intellectual snobs and local snobs says, oh, it must have been the Earl of Oxford. But the more I act in Shakespeare's plays, the more I see them, I have become convinced that the true Shakespeare is buried in Stratford, and that the one who wrote these plays was a true man of the theater. Well, I was born in Stratford upon Avon, right? A tiny small port town in England, uncomfortably white. My father would bring actors to perform in the night. Oh, being the bailiff or the constable guy. I fell in love with theater when I was just a wide-eyed kid. The way the actors spoke and commanded my imagination, full of passion, never stood a chance. I was overwhelmingly infected.
When he turned 18, he was feeling bold. Ran away to London to turn it into his new home. Left his wife and kids, went all alone. Kinda messed up, maybe borderline reprehensible.
Oh, I'm problematic. Oh,
You're a problem.
let me repeat, when I was 18, my whole family I abandoned. Oh,
You're a problem.
I know I sound like a jerk, probably was. Wait, that's not good. I want to show you how I'm growing as a person, but first, I feel I must address the lyrics from my prose and my verse. They were vile and offensive, and in no way okay. My writing's on my own, I won't explain them away. I've done a lot of self-reflecting since I started singing this song. I was totally wrong when I wrote it. Future, please forgive me. I did not realize what I did, or that, honestly, you would live to regret it. Times will change, my writing will get old. Are you ever gonna hold me accountable? My legacy's invincible stronghold. Isn't anyone gonna hold me accountable? Huh? I'm problematic.
He's a problem.
How I surrounded all my characters with tropes that are offensive. Oh!
He's a problem.
I'm gonna go and rewrite it, or not rewrite it. Is rewriting it bad? What do I do with it? My writing's totally awful. My plays are so chock full of stuff. It's not that witty. All of it was perfectly lawful, just not very thoughtful at all, and just not that witty.
And he's been totally awful. His plays are so chock full of stuff that is barely witty. All of it was perfectly lawful, just not very thoughtful at all, and just really. So how do you reform it?
Yes, I know I'm messed up. Yeah, I know I'm messed up.
Reform it.
Yeah, I've been complicit. Yeah, I'm gonna listen.
Reform Read by almost everyone in school, staged in theaters across the land, Americans of all stripes, presidents and activists, writers and soldiers, have turned to Shakespeare's works to give voice to what could not readily or otherwise be said. The Founding Fathers, all too aware of the vulnerabilities of the government they had created, looked to Shakespeare as a roadmap for where the young republic might be heading in terms of the treachery, perfidy, treason, murder, cruelty, sedition, and rebellions of rival and unbalanced factions within a new country.
Yet in those early years of the Republic, it seemed improbable that Americans would choose to adopt England's national poet as their own. How Shakespeare won over Americans is something of a mystery. At first glance, it seems almost perverse that Americans would choose to make essential to their classrooms and theaters a writer whose works enact on some of their darkest nightmares, or most lurid fantasies. Hamlet alone touches on incest, suicide, drunkenness, adultery, and fratricide.
As much as many want to believe in the universality of Shakespeare's plays, the experience of seeing Othello performed in the antebellum South, where it was quite popular, though the title role was only played by white actors in blackface, could not have been more different than seeing Paul Robeson play Othello in 1943 on Broadway, the first time an African-American actor would do so. The pressure of the times matters. The G.I. Hamlet, performed by and for infantrymen in the Pacific in 1944, was a far cry from a production Abraham Lincoln saw during the Civil War in Washington. And Lincoln's understanding of Macbeth was radically different from that of the actor and white supremacist John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated him. Abraham Lincoln, John Wilkes Booth, and William Shakespeare. These are the three we will focus on tonight.
In the 1860s, leading actors were invited to the White House, where President Abraham Lincoln enjoyed grilling them about what he thought were unconscionable changes to what Shakespeare wrote. He asked the actor James Hackett to justify to him why he cut the scene from Henry IV in which the rebellious and outcast Prince Hal, with his lovable and affable friend Falstaff, take turns playing Hal's father, the rigid, estranged, and disappointed king.
Thou stand for my father, and examine me upon the particulars of my life. Shall I? Content this chair shall be my state, this dagger my scepter, and this cushion shall be my crown. Give me a cup of sap to make mine eyes look red, for it may be thought that I have wept, for I must speak in passion, and I will do it in King Cambyses' vein. No, Harry. I do not only marvel how thou spentest thy time, but also how thou art accompanied. Shall the son of England prove a thief, and take purses a question to be asked? There is a thing, Harry, which thou hast often heard of, and it is known to many in our land by the name of pitch. This pitch, as ancient writers do report, doth defile. So doth the company thou keepest. And yet, Harry, there is a virtuous man whom I've often noted in thy company. Yet I know not his name. A goodly, portly man, faith, and a corpulent of a cheerful look, a pleasing eye, and a most noble carriage. And I think his age be some 50 or by and lining and claiming 60. And now I remember me, his name is Falstaff. If that man be lewdly given, he deceiveth me. For Harry, I spy virtue in his looks. Him keep wit, the rest banish. Now tell me, thou naughty varlet, tell me where'st thou been this month? Dost thou speak like a king? Do thou stand for me, and I'll play my father. Now, Henry, the complaints I hear of thee art grievous. There is a devil that haunts thee in the likeness of an old fat man. A ton of man is thy companion. Why dost thou converse with that trunk of humors, that bolting hutch of beastliness, that swollen parcel of dropsies, that huge bombard of sack, that stuffed cloak bag of guts, that roasted Manningtree ox with the pudding in his belly, that reverend vice, that grey iniquity, that father ruffian, that vanity in years. Wherein is he good but to taste sack and to drink it? Wherein neat and clean but to carve a capon and to eat it? Wherein cunning but in craft? Wherein crafty but in villainy? Wherein villainous but in all things? Wherein worthy but in nothing? That old, abominable misleader of youth, Falstaff, that old, white-bearded Satan, my lord, is the man I know, but to say I know more harm in him than in myself, to say more than I know, that he is old, the more the pity, but his white has to witness it, but to say that he is saving your reverence, master, that I utterly deny. If sugar and sack be a fault, God help the wicked. If to be old and merry be a sin, that I know many an old host it is to be damned. If to be fat be to be hated, then Pharaoh's lean kind is to be loved. No, my good lord, banish Bardolph, banish Peto, banish Poins, but for kind Jack Falstaff, true Jack Falstaff, sweet Jack Falstaff, valiant Jack Falstaff, and the more valiant being that he is, old Jack Falstaff, banish not him thy Harry's company, banish not him thy Harry's company. Banish plump Jack, and banish all the world. I do. I will.
And, true to his word, when Hal becomes King Henry V, he does banish Falstaff from his sight, and the jolly old knight declines, then dies. Abraham Lincoln said of the scene, "There is nothing I have read in Shakespeare that surpasses it in wit and humor."
King Lear, Richard III, Henry VIII, Hamlet, and especially Macbeth. Lincoln had encountered all of them. Some of the passages almost seemed tattooed inside his skull and would remain at the center of his imaginative and emotional worlds.
Were Lincoln less revered, we probably would have thought of him a bore for asking friends, family, government employees, and relative strangers to listen to him recite, sometimes for hours on end, and then discuss the same few passages from Shakespeare's best plays, again and again and again and again and again and again and again. But it's what he liked to do. And at times of great emotional strain, President Lincoln needed to do. As old Polonius tells young Prince Hamlet, "My lord, the actors are come hither. The best actors in the world, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral, pastoral comical, historical, pastoral, tragical, historical, tragical, historical, comical, pastoral. Scene indivisible or poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, no bloat is too light. For the law of the writ and the liberté, these are the only men."
You are welcome. Oh, masters. Welcome all. We'll aim to it like French falconers will fly at anything we see. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech. Oh, I heard thee speak me a speech once. 'Twas Aeneas' tale to Dido. Oh, and they're about Epitus, especially where he speaks of Priam's slaughter. If it lives in your memory, will you begin at this line? Let me see. Let me see. It begins with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus, like their Sanian beasts. Oh, it is not so. It begins with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus. He, whose sable arms, black as his purpose, did the night resemble when he lay couched in that ominous horse, as now this dread and black complexion smeared with heraldry more dismal? Head to foot now is he total ghouls, horridly tricked with blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, baked and empasted in the parching streets that lend a tyrannous and damned light to their vile murders, roasted in wrath and fire, and thus o'ersized with coagulate gore, with eyes like carbuncles, the hellish Pyrrhus! Old grandsire Priam seeks. So proceed you.
Suddenly, he finds him swinging too short at the Greeks. His playful sword, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, defying commands. An uneven match. Pyrrhus drives at Priam, enraged swings wide, but with the whoosh and force of his fierce sword, the unnerved father falls. Then Ilium, seemingly aware of the blow, with a flaming top stoops to its base, and with a hideous crash, grabs Pyrrhus' attention. Lo, his sword, which was descending upon the milky head of revered Priam, seems in the air to stick. So like a painted tyrant Pyrrhus stands, and like a bystander to his own will and actions, does nothing. But as we often witness against some fierce storm, a silence in the heavens, the clouds standing still, the bold winds silent, and the world below as quiet as death. Then, after Pyrrhus' pause, awakened vengeance sets him to work anew, and never did the Cyclops' hammers fall on Mars's armor, forged for eternal proof, with less remorse than Pyrrhus' bleeding sword now falls on Priam. But who, oh, who had seen the veiled queen run barefoot up and down, threatening the flame with tearful rheum, a cloth upon that head where late the crown stood, and for a robe around her thin and overwhelmed loins, a blanket in the alarm of fear caught up? Whoever had seen this with a tongue steeped in venom against fortune's state would have pronounced it treason. But if the gods themselves had seen her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious sport in carving with his sword her husband's limbs, that instant burst of clamor that she made, unless things mortal moved them not at all, would have made milch the burning eyes of heaven, and passion in the gods.
Look where he has not turned his color. Oh, and has tears in his eyes. Prithee, no more.
'Tis well. Denmark's changing, suspicion heating up. Father's sudden death, he's gone. Nightmares raging. It's like everything happened all at once. What on earth is going on? There's people crying in the streets. The pain, the doubt. The more I look, the more I see something's not right. Right now, was my father murdered? Should I write out not a poem, but really who's gonna go for writing at a time like this? Should I be writing at a time like this? I wanna help to leave this world better than I found it. And I fear that poetry won't help, and the fear is not unfounded. Should I stop trying to be punny? Move into a nunnery? No. What do I do?
Healing the world with poetry, the indescribable power of your poetry. The world needs direction
From princes like me, who are healing the world with poetry. That's it. The world, it's so messed up. Monarchical oppression, income inequality, the other stuff. And there's only one thing that I can do about it, being a prince. While being praised and being the center of attention.
Healing the world with poetry, a literary magician writing endlessly. You know he'll help you survive with his sonnets you'll read. That's healing the world with poetry.
I'm a special kind of white guy. I self-reflected and I want to be an agent of change. So I am gonna use my privilege for the good.
Very cool, way to go.
Old British white guys, we've had the floor for at least 400 years. So maybe I should just shut the heck up. I'm bored. I don't want to do that. There's gotta be another way where I can help out without standing on the sideline.
Never!
The wait is over. Hamlet is here to save the day. Lord help me channel Sandra Bullock in The Blind Side.
Sandra Bullock! Healing the world with poetry, making a literal difference metaphorically.
And yes, most likely they'll pay me, but I do it for free. That's healing the world with poetry.
If you wake up in a house that's full of smoke,
Don't panic, call me and I'll write you a poem.
if you see white men dressed in white cloaks,
Don't panic, call me, I'll write you a poem. Oh no, should I be writing at a time like this? If you start to smell burning toast, you're having a stroke or overcooking your toast.
if you wake up in a house that's full of smoke,
Poetry,
don't
that's
panic,
it.
call me and I'll write you a poem. If you
Toast.
see white men dressed in white cloaks, don't
Toast.
panic, call me and I'll write you a poem. Oh no.
Should I be writing at a time like this? Can somebody help me out? 'Cause I don't know. And I wanna help to leave this world better than I found it. And I fear that poetry won't help, and the fear is not unfounded. Should I stop trying to be punny? Move into that nunnery? No! No! I know what I've gotta do. Healing the world with poetry, making a literal difference metaphorically. I swore I'd never be back, and now I'm back on my feet. I am healing the world with poetry. Yeah.
What is the feeling when you watch my shows? Do you tire of them? Don't be kind, it'd be good to know. Are they painfully boring? Protect the status quo. I'm asking, but don't answer, 'cause I don't wanna know. Do they hold your attention? Or is it so? The language is confusing, so you don't really know. Am I just being drowned out? Hey! Are you on your phone? I'd ask you to keep watching, but to each is your own. Have I earned your affections? Or failed you so? It wouldn't make a difference, still I don't wanna know. Yeah, I am listening now. You're not watching my shows. Pretentious and excluding, is my stuff overblown?
Lincoln and his assassin, the actor John Wilkes Booth, interpreted Shakespeare in profoundly different ways. Booth tried so hard to be portrayed as an American Brutus, the assassin of Rome's Julius Caesar, that by the time Union troops from the 16th Regiment, New York Voluntary Cavalry, trapped him in a barn on April 26, 1865, he had spent years rehearsing what would be his final scene. Booth understood exits as well as anyone and was desperate to make one befitting that of a tragic and heroic figure. Funnily enough, Lincoln had little patience for heroic figures who, dying by the sword, pontificate, and confess near the end of his life he had only one reproach to make of Shakespeare's heroes: that they make long speeches when they are killed. But to Booth's chagrin, the Union troops had no desire to play along with his delusions of grandeur. But we'll get to that later on.
It's impossible to know whether performing in Julius Caesar for the first and only time in his life fueled John Wilkes Booth's violent intentions. Perhaps his identification with the assassin Brutus grew stronger after that. Or perhaps he found it helpful in justifying his actions, going so far as to quote in a final letter before the murder from Shakespeare's play, in which the assassins have gathered around to discuss the murder of their leader, and Brutus stands up and makes a plea to bring an honorable death to Caesar, perhaps in an attempt to sway public opinion that the assassination would be in the best interest of the Republic. Let's kill him boldly, not wrathfully. Let's carve him as a dish fit for the gods, not hew him as a carcass fit for hounds. And let our hearts, as subtle masters do, stir up our servants to an act of rage, which after seeing to chide him, this shall make our purpose necessary, not envious, which so appearing to the common eyes, we shall be called purgers, not murderers. Murder is a tawdry little crime. It's born of greed or lust or liquor. Adulterers and shopkeepers are murdered, but when a president is killed, when Julius Caesar got killed, he was assassinated. And the man who did it? Come on, you know his name. Brutus assassinated Caesar, what, 2,000 years ago? And here we are in the 21st century, and we all know his name. And they say fame is fleeting.
William Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, William Shakespeare. You did it! William Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, William Shakespeare. Congratulations! William Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, William Shakespeare.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew. Are you enjoying the show? Isn't it great that we have live theater back in the Rivertowns? So your next question is probably, what is a guy like me, of my stature, doing with a bunch of millennials and Generation Zs? Well, I'm here to tell you, life doesn't always go according to plan. And you need a second act, maybe recalculate your life, reinvent your life, try something new. So when I first met the cast here, we sat down and talked months ago, and we all told our story, how we got to this point. So when it came to me, I have a much longer story because I'm a baby boomer, okay? And I was born in '57, so you do the math. So one of the things that happened to me, and they were very interested, and they said to me, well, somebody in this audience may have gone through what you're going through and maybe need to hear. So this is an inspirational story. See, 8 years ago, I had a massive stroke. Okay, I had to learn my ABCs, 1, 2, 3s all over again. And I worked extremely hard. Now, looking at me, you would never know it, but I have done it. I worked extremely hard. I had to go to Burke Rehab 3 times a week. I take 2 buses, and they were never late and never missed. Okay, I was determined to get back to normal. Also, after being successful with that, I had cancer. I got diagnosed with cancer. So I'm up here doing my thing against all odds. And that's kind of my mantra, defy the odds. But anyway, thank you. So I know I probably will never play a leading man. I'm kind of not in that demographic anymore. And I may not actually play Broadway. Well, wait a minute. What's this address here?
25 North Broadway.
Okay, we're on Broadway, okay? We've done it. I just want to say something about my crew here, my cast. They've been very supportive and encouraging to me. They're good people. In fact, they're going to put the first woman in the White House. Watch and see. So, enough about me. Let me tell you something about Abraham Lincoln. In May of 1862, when the war was going bad for the North, and Lincoln was mourning the recent death of his beloved son, Willie, he traveled to Fort Monroe with his Secretary of War, Edward Stanton, and General Egbert L. Veal to consult with his commanders. Now, several accounts of the trip survive. Veal was impressed with Lincoln's ability to repeat almost word for word whatever he had read. In fact, he recalled during the trip down, Lincoln repeating the finest phrases of Shakespeare's best plays. Once he got to Fort Monroe, one of his commanders there, LeGrand Buchanan, recounted this many years later. Once at Fort Monroe, Lincoln asked to borrow a copy of Lincoln's plays. Then he asked if he could read it aloud. He read Macbeth, Lear, and finally King John passage saying, "Grief fills up the room of my absent child. He lays in his bed. He walks up and down with me. Constance bewails the loss of her child." Now, Cannon was struck on how deeply moved Lincoln was. Then, laying the book on the table, he said, have you ever dreamed about a lost friend, that you're having an actual communion with that friend, yet a consciousness that it wasn't a reality? I replied, yes, I think all have had that experience. Lincoln replied, I do dream of my boy Willie. He was overcome. Bowing over the table, he wept as only a man in breaking sorrow could weep. Now, in the history and tragedies that Lincoln found astonishing, Shakespeare put his protagonists, most of them leaders, through unbearable pressure. Among the most powerful moments in those plays were the speeches when the characters confronted moral dilemmas, gave voice to the guilt and grief that crushed them. Now, Lincoln also decided that these men were evil. Richard III, Macbeth, Claudius, didn't matter to them. What did matter was their degree of self-awareness, that they understood the difficult tasks they had to face. Now, in keeping with my theme of second acts, let me introduce the second act here.
Thank you, Andrew. Shakespeare's first great smash hit was a play about King Henry V's son, King Henry VI. And so successful was the production that he had to write 2 sequels. And striding through the 3 plays is his first great character. An ambitious, self-regarding politician who will stop at nothing and no one to achieve his ends. A man whom one day will rival Stalin or Hitler with his tyranny, but, like all of Shakespeare's villains and heroes, he speaks directly to the audience. He confesses to you his deepest desires. He makes you laugh and smile. You begin to sympathize with him, even to like him. As the young Duke of Gloucester confides in you that he believes he has been miscast by nature and longs to play the star role of King Richard III. Well, say there is no kingdom then for Richard, what other pleasure can the world afford? I'll make my heaven in a lady's lap, and deck my body with gay ornaments, and wit sweet ladies with my words and looks. Mwah. A monstrous fault, and more unlikely than to accomplish 20 golden crowns. Why? Love forswore me in my mother's womb, and if I should not deal in her soft laws, she did corrupt frail nature with some bribe to shrink mine arm up like a withered shrub, to make an envious mountain on my back where sits deformity, to mock my body, to shape my legs of an unequal size, and disproportion me in every part like to a chaos or an unlicked bare whelp that carries no impression as the damned, then am I a man to be beloved. No monstrous fault to harbor such a thought. And since the world affords no joy to me, but to command, to check, to obey such as offer better person than myself, I'll make my heaven to dream upon the crown. And whilst I live to account this world of hell unto this misshaped trunk that bears this head be round and paled with a glorious crown, yet I know not how to get the crown, for many lives stand between me and home. And I, lost in a thorny wood that rents the thorn, and is rent with the thorn, seeking a way, yet straying from the way, not knowing how to find the open air, torment myself to catch the English crown, and from that torment I will free myself, or hew my way out with a bloody axe! Why, I can smile and murder as I smile, and cry content to that which grieves my heart, and wet my cheeks with artificial tears, and frame my face for all occasions. I'll drown more sailors than the mermaid shall. I'll slay more gazers than the basilisk. I'll play the orator as well as Nestor, deceive more slyly than Ulysses could, and like a Sinon take another Troy. I can add colors to the chameleon, change shapes with Proteus for advantages, and set the murderous Machiavel to school. Can I do all this and cannot get a crown? But further off. I'll pluck it down.
Hero of the theatre, born 1564, William Shakespeare. Hero of the theatre, born in 1564, William Shakespeare. Come on, William, you can do it. Pave the way, put your back into it.
Tell us why.
Show us how. Look at where you came from.
Look at you now.
Chris Marlowe, Fletcher, Ben Jonson.
Amateurs writing some run.
Screw their rhymes.
Drink their blood. Come on, Will, get him! So, that is Shakespeare's first great character. But Shakespeare's first indisputable masterpiece is a play like the sonnets, full of love, full of wit, full of imagery, full of fire, full of easy rhythms and rhymes. A playwright in love with language. And Romeo and Juliet, too, are in love with words. They're great talkers. Romeo and Juliet are on stage together for only 14 minutes out of the 2 hours traffic of their stage. Of course, they never stop talking about each other. And because we're working in a theater where there's no artificial light, their words must describe the light. The moonlight, the starlight, the sunlight, the lamplights, lanterns, candles, and colors, too. The black of night, the shade of dear Juliet's hand, the crimson of her lips, her cheeks, and the blood. Blood. This is a play about death as much as it is a play about life. Romeo's first entrance into the play, he's thinking and feeling that death is in the air. He almost knows that after his first ecstatic meeting with Juliet and their secret marriage and his banishment and his return, that he will die of suicide. Life and death meet in one word in the play. It's a play full of puns, but here is a double meaning that is easy to miss these days. The verb to die means not only to expire, to end life. But for the Elizabethans, it had another meaning of achieving a certain climax, the very pinnacle of life. And so, there is no world without Verona walls!
Hello, patient 24602.
Oh, hello.
How are you feeling?
Not great.
Has the treatment been working?
No, I don't think so.
What are your remaining symptoms?
Well, I internalize my feelings a lot. I have trouble articulating how I'm feeling to other people. I
So
just don't
basically,
really...
you're still a little...
Wow, okay, very mature of you, disembodied voice way
I'm not
up there.
human, I can
Okay,
say whatever I
fine,
want.
whatever, just get to the point. What's wrong with me?
Your emotions and your logic are at war.
Okay.
Your creativity and your analysis are at war.
Okay.
And most simply, your left and right brain are at war.
My left and right.
To fix the problem, you must separate them from each other,
Separate?
splitting your neurological functions in 5.
Wait, should we book an appointment or something? You don't just start counting down to me for medical procedures.
This may hurt a
I don't
bit.
even know what it is.
0.
Just tell me what you're doing.
isolation complete. This is their left brain, objective, logical, cold, analytical, aware of patterns, aware of trends. They're efficient and
Hey!
This is their right brain, subjective, creative,
toy!
sensory, aware of feelings, aware of people. They're emotional and an idiot.
Wow.
They're game too. Play nice.
Dear Lawrence, I am the left brain. I emulate calm and Verona, which is insane. I got a job to do and I will do it right. Cause the main goal's keeping him alive.
I am Romeo and Dodie. Reverse that order. And I cried for at least 3 hours after Rosalind rejected me. Owie! I'm at the right brain. I have feelings. And I'm a little all over the place. But I'm lustful and trustful. And I'm looking for somebody to love and maybe do other stuff.
We're at the ball now, we're at the ball now. Play it cool around all of the females. The revolutionary purposes were populate. Study matches and see if they're compatible mates.
Oh my gosh, I think she might be the one. There's something about her. I just can't describe it.
Oh no.
I am the earth, she is the glorious sun. I want her to trust me. And I just want her to, I don't know how to say this, I just really want her to lick my face.
Alright, Romeo, that is a no-no.
Why, Friar? She makes me feel so alive. Now I've tried it. Wow, I like it.
Romeo, she's a daughter of the Capulet house. A love affair like yours could bring Verona down. Stay calm and collected, you're acting wild. Listen to adults, you hormonal child.
You said the world was broad and wide. Surviving is everything, but it isn't anything at all. If I can't be with her, I'd rather die. And you think you're helping me?
I'm trying.
Let's see, is he helping me? No, he's not.
Alright, let me run the numbers. You killed Tybalt, so you're officially banished.
Banish it? I'm really, they're just gonna banish me?
Don't kill the messenger, alright? You killed Tybalt, you're now banished.
Banish
That
it.
works.
Okay, well, I'm not going anywhere, okay?
Yes you are, because we don't kill you, so you gotta have.
Woohoo! Boo-boo! Look at me! I'm Friar Lawrence! I like to make Romeo sad and be mean and stuff!
Look! I'm just trying to do my job, alright? To keep you alive, be your protector. I'm supposed to look after you. I'm supposed to keep you emotionally stable through all of this. Think you remember Rosalind? You had the same feelings for her. The same feelings. What happens if you're unhappy? You'll blame Juliet for how you're feeling. She'll ask what happened to Tybalt. She'll hate you. I know she will. She'll hate you! Oh my god. Romeo, I'm sorry.
No, you're not!
Look, maybe there's something that we could do together.
Together?
Take Montagues and Capulets, bring them together.
Okay. Yes, I'm listening.
Their children's lonely union can help them reconcile. Your love can halt a violent civil war. It's something I can help you with while protecting both you kids. It's something special only I perform. Do you know what it is?
Oh, is it juggling? Yes! Yes, it's juggling! We can juggle and we'll just juggle our cares away! Yeah? Is that not it?
Was marriage? I could get you married.
Initiate
that makes
reassembly.
sense. Okay.
We're gonna get you married. All right, we gotta get you married.
Okay, yes, Friar, I will. I will marry her.
We're gonna fix Corona like this. Everyone's gonna be happy again. It's gonna be on.
Okay, Friar,
3,
I love you.
2, 1. Experimentation complete.
What could possibly go wrong?
Some of of those who knew John Wilkes saw Shakespeare's hand behind his act. In 1878, the theater manager John T. Ford told a journalist that Booth was trained from earliest infancy to consider the almost deified assassin Brutus, just as Shakespeare immortalized him. Booth's mind, Ford believed, was turned by the poetic and dramatic glamour which transmitted the story of the Roman assassination. George Alfred Townsend, a harsh critic of the South, had seen Booth perform and spoke with him not long before the assassination.
Townsend believed that Booth burned to make his name a part of history, crowded to fame by the applauses of the South. Edward M. Alfred recalled that Booth once told him, "Of all Shakespeare's characters, I like Brutus the best, excepting only Lear." Another friend implicated Shakespeare in the assassination. He had no doubt that Booth's study of and meditation upon those characters helped shape that mental condition which induced his murder of President Lincoln, and that if the truth could be known, John Wilkes Booth, in his insanity, lost his identity in the delirious fancy that he was enacting the role of Brutus, and that Lincoln was his Julius Caesar. And according to the wife of actor Con T. Murphy, after a disturbing incident at a rehearsal in which Booth pointed a gun at his head and exclaimed, "By God, Murphy, if you were only Lincoln, what a chance I'd have." He told her, "I do believe John Wilkes Booth is losing his mind over slavery and the president."
Abraham Lincoln had been reelected in early November 1864, an outcome that had been in doubt over the summer. Lincoln's enemies were now saying the election had been rigged, the voting system corrupted to double votes for Lincoln, and accusing him of aspiring to be president for life. Edwin Booth recalled arguing with his brother over John Wilkes' belief that Lincoln would be made King of America. By staging Julius Caesar in the immediate aftermath of Lincoln's re-election in November 1864, the Booth brothers inevitably foregrounded the issue of how defenders of liberty should best respond. Between the initial plans for a joint performance and the staging of Julius Caesar in November 1864, John Wilkes Booth had become radicalized.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln.
Sic semper tyrannis!
Someone tell the story, someone sing the song. Every now and then the country goes a little wrong. Every now and then a madman's bound to come along. But it doesn't stop the story. The story's pretty strong, and it doesn't change the song. Johnny Booth was a handsome devil, got him in his rings and fancy silks. He had no temper, but he kept it level, and everybody called him Wilkes. Why did you do it, Johnny? Nobody agrees. You who had everything, what made you bring a nation to its knees? Some say it was your voice had gone, some say it was booze. Some say you killed a country, John, because of bad reviews. Johnny lived with a grace and glitter, kind of like the lives he lived on stage. He died in a barn in pain and bitter at 27 years of age. Why did you do it, Johnny? Throw it all away. Why did you do it, boy? Not just destroy the pride and joy of Illinois, but all the USA. Your brother made you jealous, John. You couldn't fill his shoes. Was that the reason? Tell us, John, along with bad reviews.
coming. They'll be here any minute.
I need your help. I got to write this. I can't hold the pen.
Johnny, they found us. We gotta get out of here.
Not till I finish this.
Johnny!
No! Have you seen these papers? Do you know what they're calling me? A common cutthroat, a hired assassin. This one says I'm mad.
We must have been mad to think we could kill the president and get away with it.
We did get away with it. He was a bloody tyrant and we brought him down. And I want to have history think I did it for a bag of gold on some kind of rabid fit.
Johnny, we have to go.
No! I need to make my case. I need you to take it down.
We don't have time.
Harry! Take it down. An indictment of the former President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, who is here in charge with the following high crimes and misdemeanors.
They say your ship was sinking, John.
1. That you did ruthlessly provoke a war between the states, which cost some 600,000 of my countrymen their lives. 2.
You started missing cues.
2. That you did silence your critics in the North by hurling them into prison without benefit of charge or trial. 3.
They say it wasn't Lincoln, John.
Shut up. 3.
You merely had a slew of bad reviews.
I said shut up.
We have 50 soldiers out here, Bill. Give yourself up or we'll set fire.
Bond!
Don't shoot, I'm coming out.
No! I've given up my life for one act. You understand? Do not let history rob me of its meaning. Pass on the truth. You're the only ones who can. Please.
He said, damn you, Lincoln, you had your way.
Tell him, boy.
The blood you drew out of blue and gray.
Tell it more. Tell it till they
He
listen.
said, damn you, Lincoln, and damn the day you threw the U out of USA. He said,
Hunt me down, smear my name, say I did it for the fame. What I did was kill the man who killed my country. Now the Southland will mend, now this bloody war can end. Because someone slew the tyrant, just as Brutus slew the tyrant.
he said, damn you, Lincoln, you righteous boy.
Tell him what I did.
You turned your fighting to civil war.
Tell him the truth, tell it all. Tell him how it happened, how the end doesn't mean that it's over. How surrender is not the end. Tell him how the country is not what it was. Where there's blood in the clover, how the nation can never again be the hope that it was. How the bruised may never be healed, how the wounds are forever, how they gave up the field, but we still wouldn't yield, how the Union can never recover from that vulgar, high and mighty traitor lover, never. Oh, the country, it's not what it was. Damn my soul, if you must, let my body turn to dust. Let it mingle with the ashes of the country. Let them curse me to hell, leave it to history to tell. What I did well, and I did it for my country. Let them cry, dirty traitor, they will understand me later. The country is not what it was.
Johnny Booth was a headstrong fella. Even he believed the things he said. Some called him noble and some said yellow. But what he was is off his head. How could you do it, Johnny? Calling it a cause. You left a legacy of butchery and treasonry. Took eagerly and thought you'd get applause. But traitors just get jeers and boos, not visits to their graves. While Lincoln, who got mixed reviews, because of you, John now gets only raves. Damn you, Johnny, you paved the way for other madmen to make us pay. Lots of madmen have had their say, but only for a day. Listen to the stories, hear it in songs. Angry men don't write the rules, and guns don't right the wrongs. It hurts a while, but soon the country's back where it belongs. And that's the truth. Still and all. Damn you, Booth!
But efforts to recast the assassination of Lincoln as a reenactment of Julius Caesar found little purchase among Americans, even in the defeated South. The play the nation settled on to give voice to what had happened and to define how Lincoln was to be remembered was, of course, Macbeth. As news of the president's murder swept through the land and Americans struggled to put their feelings into words, lines from Act 2, Scene 3 of Macbeth came immediately to mind. O horror for horror, horror, tongue nor heart cannot conceive nor name thee. We have supped full of horrors. While lines from other plays were tried out, including passages from Hamlet and King John, it was to Macbeth that those mourning Lincoln found themselves turning time and time again, especially those likening him to the slain Duncan, who hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off. These 4 lines were repeatedly recited in eulogies. They appeared on banners strung from storefronts. They were printed in illustrations such as The Martyr of Liberty, where they provide a commentary on the moment of the assassination. And they formed the centerpiece of the black-bordered funeral broadside that circulated. Shakespeare applied to our national bereavement. These words became, as the historian Richard Whiteman Fox put it, virtually the official slogan of the mourning period.
For a divided America, the universal currency of Shakespeare's words offered a collective catharsis, and the story of Lincoln's assassination was successfully recast as a national tragedy of Shakespearean dimensions.
By the pricking of my thumbs,
Something wicked this way comes.
the map. The golden boy of Scotland, it's the General Macbeth.
Hero full of greatness, saved the country, won the war.
Future shining brightly, all the world right at your door.
There it is again, that sinking feeling, that sinking feeling. There it is again, that sinking feeling, that sinking feeling. Sitting alone at the top, my homecoming awaits. What could possibly go wrong? The witches know my fate.
Captain, please ignore them, they're so sordid, let's move on. You don't need their prophecy, you're already fain of glance.
But they said
You could become Thane of Cawdor, then King too.
And after talking with my wife, there's just one thing to do. Though it brings me grief and sadness just to comprehend, a violent death will have to bring King Duncan, my good friend.
So it all begins, the reign of terror, that tragic error, instant guilt and despair can't even measure, life changed forever.
Reeling from the murder, cannot sleep, cannot find rest. Overwhelming guilt and drowning in my own regret. Fully paranoid and barely cogent, seeing ghosts. Waking Bunker Duncan with thy knocking if I could see. Losing my grip on reality, out of my mind. Regicide haunts me relentlessly for my whole life. Always weighing the pros and the cons and rights and wrongs. Killer with a conscience, the real tragedy all along.
There it is again, that sinking feeling, that sinking feeling. There it is again, that sinking feeling, that sinking feeling. Hey, what can we say? It's the life you choose. Could steal the throne or wait.
Hey, what can we say? It's the life you choose. Power for power, seal your fate.
Hey, what can we say? It's the life you choose. This is the nightmare you create.
Hey, what can we say? It's the life you choose. These are the choices that you make.
Hey, what can we say? It's the life you choose. You can't reverse this, it's too late.
Hey,
Now, each speech must be put in the context of not only the scene, but in the context of the whole play. So, Macbeth arrives back from battle after having almost single-handedly saved Scotland from defeat. And like many successful generals, he also wants to get into professional politics. So he meets 3 witches, and they promise him that he can become the King of Scotland if only he will kill the present King Duncan, the good old man, his patron, and his friend. And urged on by his wife, he commits the murder, and therein starts the real reign of terror. And so imagine with me, if you will, Macbeth returns from battle, and he is the golden boy. And from this height of ecstasy and optimism and achievement, he falls deeper and deeper and deeper. Always his imagination alive, always weighing the rights and the wrongs, the pros and the cons. Because Macbeth's real tragedy is that he is a murderer, but with a conscience. And so, all hail Macbeth, Thane of Glamis!
All hail Macbeth, Thane of Cawdor!
All hail Macbeth, who shall be king hereafter.
This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, why has it given me earnest of success commencing in truth? If good, why do I yield to that suggestion whose horrid image doth unfix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My murder, whose thoughts are fantastical, shakes on my single state of man that functions smothered in surmise, and nothing is but what is not. If chance will have me king, why chance may crown me without my stir. Come what come may, time and the hour runs through the roughest day. If it were done, when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease, success that but this blow might be the be-all and the end-all here, but here, upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come. In these cases we still have judgments here, which being taught return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips. He's here in double trust, first as I am his kinsman, and his subject, strong both against the deed then as his host, against whose murderer should shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath made it so clear in his great office that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off in pity, like a naked newborn babe striding the blast or heaven's cherubim host upon the sightless courtiers of the air that blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears will drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other. Is this a dagger, which I do see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch there. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision sensible to feeling as the sight or but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from the heat depressed brain? I see thee still in form as palpable as this which now I draw, Thou marshalledst me the way that I was going, mine eyes have made the fools of the other senses, and with all the rest I see thee still, and in thy blade of dudgeon, gouts of blood which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the wicked wisness which imbues my air. Now the one hath whirled, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtain's sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder alarmed by his sentinel the wolf howls his thus watch with his stealthy pace. The Tarquin's ravishing strides towards his design moves like a ghost. Thy shorn firm set earth, hear not my steps which way they walk, for fear thy stones may prate of my whereabouts, and take this present horror from the time which now suits with it. As I live, 2 words of the deed, 2 cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for 'tis a knell. It summons thee to heaven. Or to hell.
Now the show is done. Almost. I hope that you had gut trembling or something resembling fun. And if you watched this thing alone, you maybe didn't laugh, but maybe a few times you exhaled out of your nose. If you hated it, that's fair. But either way, could you find a little more time for a parting questionnaire? On a scale from 1 to 0, are you happy? 'Cause you're on your own from here, so are you happy? I'm open to suggestions. Are you happy? But I mean, what kind of question is am I happy? I really want to try to get happy. And I think that I could get it if I didn't always panic every time I'm unhappy. Like I'm owed some life where I'm always like happy, which is stupid because I wouldn't even want it if I got it. Wait, oh well, my dad was right. So if you know or ever knew how to get happy, on a scale from 1 to 2 now, are you happy? You're everything you hated. Are you happy? Hey, look, Mom, we made it. Are you happy?
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all people are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. It is for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Our revels now are ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep.
So long, goodbye. I'll see you when I see you. You can pick the play, we'll rehearse and prepare in time. So long, goodbye. Do I really have to finish? Do returns always diminish? I used to think at night, if I go and write a poem, will there be clapping in the background? So this is how it ends. It's your turn. I can never write again. So long. Bye. We're slowly losing power. Has it only been an hour? No, that can't be right. So long, goodbye. Hey, here's a fun idea. How about I sit on the ground and I watch you next time? I wanna see you write a poem. You don't need clapping in the background. So this is how it ends. It's your turn. I can never write again. Are you going crazy? Would you even know? Are we right back where we were 400 years ago? Wanna guess the ending, if it ever comes? I swear to you that all you'll ever want is just a little bit of everything, all of the time. A bit of everything, all of the time. Apathy's a tragedy, inaction is a crime. I finished writing, now is your time. If you wake up in a house that's full of smoke, don't panic. Take a breath and go write a poem. If you're feeling irrelevant and totally broken, damn it, take a breath and go write a poem. Go sit and start writing at a time like this. Well, look who's outside again. Went out to look for a reason to hide again. Well, my friend, you found it. Now won't you put your hands up? You've got us surrounded.
We heard that.
You heard that.
Encore, hit it.
I heard the theater here looks like Ford's Theater. Well, here we are, Ford's Theater. Wow, this is pretty awesome. I don't know what this play is, but I don't really care. Because, oh my word, I can't believe the president is here. I can't see him, but I know he's sitting up there. When Harper's Weekly runs his picture, I like to keep it, I like to tear it out. But my husband doesn't like it when I do this. He says he only has so much patience and it might just wear it out. Now the play has started, but my head is somewhere else. The way he saved the world or something that's so dreamy. I wonder what his view is like from way up in that box. If I flash a little ankle, he might see me and be like, who's that fetching beauty? And I'll wave and be like, hey. And I'll run off with him and we'll have tons of babies. And we'll live in a log cabin and I'll stay home and brush his hair. And my husband here can shut.
He's a tyrant and a crook. If you just take a closer look, you can see the lies just dripping from his mouth. He suffocated half the land with his long and bony hand. And he doesn't give a damn about the South. He robbed us all of house and home, then he left us all alone. It is obvious the deed that must be done. He can't be trusted with the power. Another clock has struck the hour. I act on the behalf of everyone.
Oh, not me.
And I'll liberate my country, unseat the despot. The old rule will vanish. I will turn the page of history. We'll get a new start. Sic semper tyrannis.
Don't be like John Wilkes Booth. Just vote.
Mr. President.
It's Abraham Lincoln, y'all.
I don't like this play. All the actors stink. And the laughs are cheap. It's hot. I've been out all day. I just want to eat. I just want to sleep. It's my second term. It's a fragile piece. Hope it stays around. My resolve is firm. I have made this bed. Now I must lie down. My nation's come a long way, and today our many states may stand united. 'Twas a heavy price we had to pay, and I hope our efforts don't go unrequited. Time has not been kind. We lost thousands of boys, I lost 2 of my own. North and South combined in an orgy of violence like none we had known. Such a war was fought, brothers fought against brothers on my command. But was it for naught when the enslaved are free in a more perfect land? My first term went by so fast, and so far I'm thankful for the years I've had. The war is now in the past, and this play really wasn't that bad.
Thank you, everyone. All right. We are the Rivertowns Playhouse, formerly the Irvington Shakespeare Company. Thank you for coming. If you like the show and want to support us, donations, signing up for the newsletter, 5-star on Google review, great. If you hated it, 1 star on Yahoo. Thank you so much for coming. Watch your step as you leave. See you at the next show. Good night.
Thank you.